Hey folks, welcome back to Chris White Africa on the Adobe Africa channel. This is Chris coming to you live from central Pennsylvania on, well, it's supposed to be Friday. It is Friday, the 27th of November, 2020, the day after Thanksgiving here in the United States. Welcome to everybody tuning in from around the world. It's a pleasure to have you join us today. If you tuned in hoping to hear Valerie, the organizer of Black Monday, I apologize, but disappointment again. Last Saturday, she was scheduled to come on the channel and her computer died. And then she had to wait till Monday to get someone to work on it. And I've heard from her once this week, and she said it was supposed to arrive, but I think she either may be busy or something's happened, so we don't know. But she's not available. So what we've done in the interim is I've spoken to Yanni Meyer, who is a close associate of Valerie's, and he has kindly agreed to jump in to talk about a few issues tied to Black Monday, specifically talk about the recent march that took place in Cape Town, but also about an interesting event that's scheduled for this coming summer in Washington, D.C. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And you probably know Yanni. He's been on the channel before. We've had him on. He's also been very helpful providing footage for some of the key events that have been taking place, like the Vitkois Monument ceremony that took place this year, plus some other ones. He's been fantastic. And so let me welcome him in right now. So folks, here's Yanni. Yanni, how's it going today? Well, actually, spent it working. I interviewed Liesl Pretorius from the South African Macadamia Nut Growers Association, which was a fantastic interview. I really enjoyed it. We had a pretty good audience for that. And so I did that. And then normally watch football, but I have an issue with the National Football League right now, so I didn't watch the football. Plus, one of the games was canceled because of COVID hysteria. So there were 3 games yesterday. I didn't watch any of them. And then the other thing normally is to have turkey. Had a little bit of something late in the evening. Didn't eat until very late last night, but had some stuffing, some mashed potatoes, some yams, or sweet potatoes, as some of us call them. So I had a little bit of a Thanksgiving meal. Called my mother, who's in hospital, and my sister up in Ohio, or over in Ohio, was able to take some Thanksgiving dinner to her in the hospital. And apparently my mother, who's had difficulty eating, enjoyed it. She ate a whole bunch, which is good news. So yeah, that's kind of how I spent my Thanksgiving. Not a typical Thanksgiving, to say the least. People were asking me, why are you working on Thanksgiving? I'm like, well, it's just another day at this point. They've successfully destroyed culture and life here in America by suppressing our holidays. You know, the governor of my state said that you can't have more than 5 people in your home or you would be arrested. I'm not really sure how he's going to pull that off. Yeah, especially if you're Amish and you have 6 children. What are you supposed to do? Make them sleep outside in a tent? Pretty crazy stuff. It looks like your connection's frozen up there. Yeah. I can. Okay. Yeah. Folks are saying they can't hear you, but you weren't speaking. So I'm not sure why they're saying they can't hear you and they're saying no sound. Yanni wasn't speaking. I was speaking. Okay. Now, Yanni, go ahead.
Yeah, no, yeah, okay. No, listen, just on behalf of Valerie, she lives up in it's farm country and bush country. Not is not always available, always good. And if you want to get your computers repaired, you have to drive to Petersburg. It takes longer. It's more expensive. So on behalf of Valerie, I'm a close associate with Valerie, or Valerie's. I've known her for many years. I can give you a little bit of history, making progress in getting some of the, the rallies people to support it a little bit more frequently.
Yeah, your connection is very bad there, Jan. It's not working out. The mobile connection is not very good at all.
Attendees are up, which you can see where. Can I just see? Whether it's better down here somewhere?
Perhaps.
Yeah, because this is also in the open, the felt, so I can sit anywhere. Is this better?
At the moment, the video is kind of choppy, but the audio is there. We maybe we turn off the video and just do the audio. I don't know if that'll work.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's see how it goes. I can move to different spots. This is also in a rural setting area, and although I'm close to the N4, there should be good coverage here. Should be all right. All right, Chris. Yeah. So we finished the Black Monday on the 25th of October. We battled to get it organized because the police and the authorities there were not very helpful until the end, And I flew in on the Wednesday and had a meeting with Valerie and the city council and police and so on the Thursday. We had to give some undertakings, and then it happens. I must say we expected far more people, but we had to turn people away because we were only allowed to have 500 supporters per show. I think there was about 600 in the end. So in the end, it all worked out well, which I was very grateful for. Yes.
So, Yanni, what you're saying is that unlike the economic freedom fighters who were told they could have 100 people at an event and showed up with 5,000 people with knob carries, pangas, and golf clubs marching in an impi-like formation, threatening the police and the school. Apparently, the Black Monday organizers followed the letter of the law, kept their rally to the sides, maintained your social distances, also wore masks when the police reminded you of it. So basically, what you're saying is that the folks at Black Monday obey the law, which is very much in stark contrast, from my view, to what the EFF does.
Yeah, we have a tradition as well. We were all a little bit nervous because we were, left hanging until 2 or 3 days before the time. You can't organize it properly because you need stewards to help marshals and so on. And so it was left very late, but very cordial meeting. I always start with a meeting with a prayer. Mm-hmm. And then I ask God, please, just guide us in this meeting, etc. Before the time I said, if there were any Muslims here, which weren't, any English speaker or whatever, please, if you object, just say so, and then, won't do it. So, but they were very, very positive, a lot of Afrikaans-speaking people, very senior officers, lieutenant colonels in the police and also the Metro Police. It was chaired by an official from the city council. And we gave the undertaking. The bikers were potentially a problem for them. They did not want to allow more than about 100 or 200 bikers at the most in the meeting. So I had to give the assurance that we will also control them. Mm-hmm. It turned out to be very good. I took to the stage. The stage was obviously the flatbed truck there. Valerie then received the protesters on another site, and they peacefully marched to the parliament where we waited. And while we waited that the bikers arrived, I asked them to help us control the traffic, to cordon off the area because the traffic police at that stage wasn't there. So I must say that was really nice, and we were positive, and we spoke to the police there to take the tension out. I think you probably remember that I said we're broadcasting to America, so that diffused any tension and so on. And then afterwards, we still had the truck on the cross on the truck. And we then went past the original congregation point. And there I saw the cop in charge, the policeman in charge. And he came to me, he said, thank you very, very much for the very orderly protest, And that's how it ended. I didn't feel threatened, or they didn't threaten me once or twice. They asked me just to get the bikers to stop revving their bikes, which was difficult, but they listened to me. And and I also thought it was great. We got some very good coverage in the news. The laughable bit was that the EFF threatened to take charges against Valerie. Fortunately, not me, although I was the responsible person, and the Minister of Agriculture, for somebody in the crowd having an old flag. Now, I didn't see a flag. I saw a clear, but that's not an illegal flag. So that was the only thing. And so that's how it went very, very well. In the end, before the event, I tried to find a farm in Stellenbosch, in the wine area, to receive the cross, because every year on the 25th or close to that, we would like to upgrade the cross, update it with new plaques. Lord help us, not many, please. And I had a problem doing that. There were people, farmers, who were keen, but then pulled out because of a threat that was made. I don't know whether it was directly, indirectly. On Facebook, the EFF threatened Western Cape farmers to burn their farms down. Mm-hmm. So they did not want to attract unnecessary attention. And there was a farmer that I've known because I've lived in Cape Town for a long, long time. And I know the guy's a Jewish chappie, Dennis Zettler. He's actually a character. He's got a farm between Stellenbosch and Somerset West. And he developed a very well-known tourist destination on it. They allow people to pick strawberries and then to taste wine and stuff and buy fresh farm produce, dried fruit, juices, wine, and etc. And his brother was murdered 2 years ago or so. And you know what? I asked him, because I just took the truck. We didn't have any place to to plant it, Chris. It was crazy. And so I took the truck with a cross and I went inside, said, Dennis, you haven't seen you for a long time, which was about 20 years, by the way. And he remembered me. And I said, we got the cross here. I believe your brother died. Jeffrey died. And I said to him, please, can we plant it close to the road, but in an area where we can upgrade it, because every year we do. And he said, no problem. Come back a couple of days and then we'll discuss where. So I was very relieved. He's a Jewish guy, but he's a Boerejood, I would say. He's a Boerejood. I think as part of the farming community, he carries the same values, and he's been there generations on wine farms, farming basically strawberries and grapes, but mostly strawberries. They're known for their Mooiberge strawberry produce. And the area is absolutely picturesque. Your audience can Google it, Mooiberge, M-O-O-I Berge, B-E-R-G-E. And that's in Stellenbosch. Wonderful, wonderful place. So when I arrived there during the week, I noticed that Dennis had planted this cross right at the main entrance, where every tourist who comes to his farm stall, and I can assure you there are many, actually pass. And he was telling me he is going to arrange with a rabbi to get a special plaque for his brother, and he wants to mount it, and please can I come to the ceremony, and so on. So, that was cool. That was really nice. So, if people go to the Mooiberge farm and you go via the main entrance pedestrian entrance, you will see there he put a tractor there and he created space and he planted. I was so thrilled. And look, to give you a little bit of history, Chris, just to go back to the 25th again, there was a possibility that the cross was going to be planted in Paarl somewhere, but obviously that fell through. And I did not have any bikers or anybody following me with a cross. They all left for Palm and Paul. In Afrikaans, it's Parel. And the reason why it's called Paul, Parel is a pearl. And there's a pearl rock. So if you drive down the mountain pass, when you enter the Cape, you look across the most beautiful view. And you see the sea, you see the winelands in front of you at a great height. It's the Toys Kloof. Have you ever driven it, Chris, when you were in South Africa? Maybe you have. You will never forget it.
Yep.
And there, at the foot of the pass, there is a village called Paul or Pearl. And the reason why it's called that is because it has got a unique rock features in the form of pearls. And this one rock is beautiful. It's like a pearl rock. And when the sun comes across the mountains in the morning and the afternoons, then it's got a glow. It glows like a pearl. So, so the bikers and everybody went off there. And I think they prayed there, etc. But next year, we'll all congregate at Dennis's farm on the 25th, and we will upgrade the cross.
Gotcha. So this is, listen, I've got a breaking, Yanni. This is where I pull a yellow card out. This is related to Afrikaans. See, it's simply unfair. How can it be spelled parl and it's pronounced peril? There's no E, there's no I in the word. And before you answer, it's not terrell, it's tal. So the language is a tal. So why can't that be parl? Because it's also a double A. How can it be peril? See, this is why people can't pronounce that language. It's really hard to pronounce Afrikaans when you all just change the pronunciation of words when the letters are exactly the same. It's not fair.
Yeah, no, I for sure. But, Paul is a historical town, and the name originated before Afrikaans evolved into where we will actually call it parel.
Okay.
So please forgive us.
So that's why. So it came, that pronunciation of peril came about before Afrikaans developed into a language. Okay, that makes more sense. Yeah, no, I knew
that's quite correct.
Now I knew that the town it means pearl, but also for folks not from South Africa, they should know that Parel is also the site of the world's only language monument, and that is the Taal Monument there in Parel to Afrikaans, which is a beautiful and amazing monument. I've been there with its 7 different peaks to show the different contributions into creating the language of Afrikaans. It's a beautiful place to go.
Yeah, and then just digressing a bit. That town is very, very important for the development of the Afrikaans language. Many historical events happened there, which basically funded the language from a grammatical point of view, an academic point of view, and so on. So it's very historical as far as that is concerned. Also, the Paul Monument is built and designed by Jan van Wyk, a well-known architect in the 70s, early 70s, late 60s in South Africa. And it was designed as an abstract monument based on an exponential graph like this. If you see the photographs, you will understand, because at the time, Afrikaans was very popular, and obviously in South Africa, it's still extremely popular. I think that, is it after Zulu, of course? I think after Zulu, it's the second most spoken language.
After Zulu, it's the second most spoken first language in the country.
First language, yeah. English, I think, is the most spoken first language, yeah.
No. English is the most spoken second language, but the most spoken first language is Zulu and Afrikaans. English is only spoken by about 7% of the population as a first language.
Yeah. Okay, to give you a little bit of background on Soups. Sorry, I nearly fell off here.
Careful.
Give you a little bit of background of Black Monday. In 2017, there was a murder, and I forget who the person was, but a sporadic nationwide protest happened. It was basically just spontaneous and sporadic. There was a group behind it. They unfortunately did not carry on with the Black Monday concept. And because in the absence of somebody continuing that opportunity and initiative, Valerie, who obviously is also a victim of farm murders, she then took it upon herself to start valiantly to promote Black Monday and to try and keep the tradition going. And I can assure you that it's been a very uphill battle for her. And it is still uphill battle for her. Because some of the original organizers, even though they've done nothing, still to this day are criticizing her for hijacking the movement, which is not true. They just did nothing. And also the infrastructure, the structure of Black Monday wasn't well built and set up. And there are reasons for it because Valerie just didn't have the help. I basically met Valerie when I did broadcasts for Scott, and I covered Black Monday for Scott, with Valerie, and often it was just her, myself, and a couple of protesters who rocked up. This specific cross that I spoke to you about, we were going to plant that in front of Parliament last year in concrete. But, that cross weighs about 160 kilograms steel, and there weren't enough people to even carry the cross to Parliament. It was, it was disgusting. And then I must say, obviously, the reasons why these movements picked up, etc., which is great. It's also spontaneous, but the bikers had a lot to do with it, and so did Debbie Els, and also the Witkruis. I think what's her name, Lisa Fourie. She also, so it's been a long road. These people weren't supported. Finance was very, very hard. Valerie spent most of the year after that disastrous protest on creating a network of towns. I think there are 500 towns throughout South Africa where she has founded small groups, Black Monday groups. And I can tell you, Chris, because I'm on the moderators as well, I can tell you that that's one of the most positive aspects and contributes of Black Monday is simply to have networked across all these towns in South Africa, and they found and organizers, moderators for every little town. So, and every moderator is a potential leader. And I think that Black Monday, and I'm supposed to meet with Valerie soon in Petersburg or Limpopo to discuss keeping the momentum of Black Monday forward, to keep it, and also to use her initiative on the infrastructure of the small towns and see how she can integrate and use it with other groups who also need infrastructure in those towns. So that's another discussion. But she's also founded Volkssorg. During COVID, so many of our people, specifically the white minority, we did not receive the parcels and the financial benefits that the ANC dished out to their own people. And obviously a lot of those postpakkies, food parcels, were stolen by their politicians and then sold on the black market. Unbelievable. But anyway.
Well, it's even worse than that, Yanni, because those South Africans who attempted to deliver food assistance to the hungry, white and black, were threatened with arrest and harassed by law enforcement because they were interfering with their criminal enterprises and also making the ANC look bad. Yeah.
Well, it was a disaster, but a couple of things then, got started. And one of the things was her initiative volkssorg, which means feed the nation in Afrikaans.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a WhatsApp group on there, on WhatsApp, obviously, where a lot of people who are in desperate need in some of these towns, who don't have food, who are destitute on the street, would call into WhatsApp, and people all over the country who know about this group will, through this WhatsApp group, get help. I think that's not very well known. But so Valerie she's got an incredible heart. She's become a fairly a robust and tough woman simply because of the personal tragedy that she went through. And we still fight. We still have to overcome the bad rumors lying around. There's one particular one, and it has got no basis. Schenkings. What is a skenking in English? Contributions to Black Monday doesn't find its way to the cause, but is used by Valerie for her and whatever rubbish like that. And this is all fake news. News. I would not, and many other people won't get involved in anything like that. So if people hear that it's total jealousy or fake news, etc., it's totally untrue. We are picking up momentum. She's picking up momentum. A lot of people are now we're getting critical mass, which is important. Her membership is growing. She's got a web page now, and social media is also jacked. Advertisements and advertising and just getting the cause out there is also improving as well. She's attracted some funding, which is obviously confidential, but that does help. Without money, you can't do anything, Chris.
Yep.
And as a result, next year, she's planning, and they are planning, and she asked me to attend as well, to go to Washington, D.C., it's in May, to bring the story of the farmers to Parliament. I can give you a letter, it still will be Trump, for sure. He'll be there, and also to see congressmen and senators, and also I want to see sponsors, because there are a whole lot of other things which Black Monday, volkssorg is one of them. We need aid. USAID's not giving us any aid here, and we know that we've got 100 squatter camps. It's unverified. We're trying to verify it. And some people say between 400,000 and 1 million white squatters, which is crazy. So, and we don't have any financial assistance for those people. So it will be also an awareness campaign for that as well, volkssorg. So we're looking forward to it. We need to plan it very well. Have the agenda very well. We've got help behind the scenes, to do the planning well. And also to assist financially with this trip, because obviously the rand is worth nothing.
Well,
By the way,
go ahead.
No, carry on.
No, so I need to break in here and do a little bit of housekeeping. So, folks, you're listening to Chris White Africa on the Indaba Africa channel. My scheduled guest for today was Valerie Byliefeldt, who was organizer of the Black Monday events. Unfortunately, her computer died on her last Saturday, and she told us early in the day that she wouldn't be able to make it, so we tried to reschedule for today. I've been trying to reach her, been unable to. I don't know if she's tied up, she's busy, or if something's happening. But she's not available, so Yanni Meyer, a close associate of hers, agreed to come on short, instantaneous notice, pulled over off the side of the road and found a spot to jump on and join us, so I'm grateful for that. But let me get to a few comments that people made, Yanni, very quickly. So Hank Adrian said, he said, hello to everybody. They asked, where's Valerie? So there's your answer. There's Valerie. We don't know. She's not available at the moment, so hopefully we can reschedule that. So it wasn't clickbait, folks. My apologies for that. To the 25 people who just tuned in from the over-length Pod Bros stream, thank you for joining us as it ended finally about 3 or 4 minutes ago. Appreciate you joining us. And let's see. So St. Andre asked if Yank is a derogatory word for Americans. Nope, not at all. Yankee is not a derogatory term for Americans, unless you're talking about the New York Yankees, and then it is derogatory. I hate the New York Yankees with a passion that I reserve only for the New England Patriots and for leftists. Yankee Yank is not a derogatory term at all for Americans. Most of us we don't really pay much attention to it, but Brits like to call us that, and that's fine. We don't mind. And then BSLED said, yeah, the people trying to help out those who were hungry, both black and white, really did make the ANC look bad. That's why they had a problem with it. David said the trick about 2020 is telling the fake news from the fake news. Well, let me help you out, David. It's very simple. Basically, if you get your news from The Guardian, The Mail and Guardian, News 24, ENCA, MSNBC, CNN, ABC, CBS, NBC, and faux news, fake news, fraudulent news, Fox News, you can pretty much count that most of that so-called news is fake news. Now, when you go to alternative media, that's where the challenge is. Do you listen to somebody that's objective and reports the facts, like myself, or do you listen to some nutter who is telling you what you want to hear? So you got to be careful there. Folks, I have people tune out from this channel because they don't like what I have to say, who support the channel, and that's perfectly fine. I'm not going to mislead people. I'm going to report facts as best I know. Speaking of which, I misspoke a couple of days ago. I need to clarify that very quickly. I was talking about Harry Reid, called him Dingy Harry. I didn't misspeak calling him Dingy Harry. I mistakenly, in my enthusiasm in a rant, said he's from Utah. No, he's not. He's from Nevada. I went back and watched that stream, and he's from Nevada. I know he's from Nevada, and nobody called me out on it, so thanks for that. But I like to get the facts straight. Anyway, yeah, so let's get back to the conversation here, Yanni. The point you were making about this event in D.C., is this the 21st of June? Is this the protester march that you're referring to here in Washington, D.C.?
Yeah, I think Valerie knows more about that than I do at the moment, but I do know that she's thinking very big.
Ouch.
We would like to also involve the American farming community to drive their and so on. You know, those big things in America, you guys think much bigger than we do. So protest, and we want media attention. You know, even though it's from the fake news, any attention is good. So maybe we'll start burning a couple of tires a la EFF, you know, and just say it's our tradition, and try and get some attention.
That's actually funny. Yeah, your connection's fading in and out again.
It's getting dark here.
Yeah.
So please, will you guys excuse me? My little stepson was also here, and he's very hungry. So if you excuse me, Chris, but I would like to, in a future date, come up on your stream, because I know most of the groups very well, their leaders very well, and we can have a nice debate about what they have in common and why don't they speak to each other, and what, you know, all of those things. And we put our cards on the table. And maybe we can organize some meetings in South Africa in centers, like for instance in Mossel Bay. Get Hein there, get Paul Palm there, Mr. Palm, Des Palm there, and also the Cape Party guy Miller. Get him there, you know, and we start talking about what we have in common. And we put our cards on the table, and then there must be a resolution in the same year. And you and me had a private, you know, discussion about the firefighting stuff and some ideas, etc. But you know, we've got IFI Forum, who's got they've got the, and hopefully someone is listening. They've got the farm guards and the neighborhood watchers and so on, and they've got training and some infrastructure. And then we've got the Boere Legioen, who's trained to defend people in these towns, also duplicating stuff, you know, with radio connection and communications and so on. And then we also have Suidlanders, you know, Suidlanders also have a defense mechanism and structure. And then we've got Valerie with a lot of connections in 500 dorpe. So, you know, you bring all these people together in one hall here in Pretoria, and we talk about starting a civil defense or in Afrikaans, a burgermag, burgerbeskerming. You know, burger is
Citizen.
is a very emotive word for us, because the burgers is the old, the first free farmers. You know, there was it's many years ago, van Riebeeck time. Vryburgers. These are people who got their freedom to not stand and be under the authority of the Dutch East India Company. And they're called Vryburgers. And so the burger notion has got a lot of historical connotations for us. So a burgermag or a burger verdedigingsmag. And then we've got to look far more. We've seen now with the Senekal murders, Chris. We need to look at firefighting. People need to be trained. Very important, just to understand the notion of fire, wind, and so on. Buy second-hand equipment somewhere, get money to do it. And then also doctors, medical services. There are plenty of retired medics out there who can train people, who can join, etc., etc. So we must think more than just defending ourselves, you know, with pistols and guns and stuff. This is a total civil defense structure that needs to start. So yeah, I'm going to meet Dirk Herman. Hopefully, Dirk, are you listening? Hopefully you are. He said after COVID he will set up a meeting to catch up. You know, we brainstorm sometimes, and very, very nice man. So maybe we'll start doing that type of thing. But we need to keep the momentum of these protests going. I see Debbie Els had a personal experience in Kraaifontein, where the EFF went to the town center, and I don't know why they protested, but again, there were a couple of thousand there, I think, maybe 2,000, not as many as in Brockenfell. And she was able to report on that on Scott's channel, Impromptu, today. On a video. So, you know, the fight's not over yet. We need to get more people who support Black Monday. We need to get organizers. You know, organizers are extremely important. We can all have great ideas, but if you don't get Black Monday organized, you know, it just stays an idea. And I think that Valerie's now got people around her who's actually able to organize. So we're going to go from strength to strength. And she's here to stay, and she definitely has my support. And and she's going to make even more of a difference, Chris.
All right, Yanni, listen, that's appreciate you sharing, and very grateful that you were able to impromptu stop and join us, so that I had a guest today since Valerie was unavailable. But it's getting dark. It's not safe in South Africa after dark anywhere these days. And that little stepson of yours is probably starving. My recommendation is not to go to Chicken Licken or KFC, but find something better like Romans. No. But anyway,
the Chicken Licken one, I think, is sold out by this time on a Friday.
Exactly.
Anyway.
So yeah, please get out of
very nice wings.
get out of the dark and get on the road so you guys are safe.
I will.
And thanks for calling in. I appreciate it. All right, that's Yanni Meyer, folks. Thanks a lot. Appreciate Yanni.
Yeah. To all your listeners, stay safe and enjoy what's left of your turkeys. Thank you.
All right, take care,
Bye,
Yanni.
Chris.
All right, that's Yanni Meyer, folks. Here we go. Let me switch over to that, and he'll drop off here in just a second. We'll give him a second drop off there. Folks, thanks for tuning in. My apologies for today. Oops, not quite off that there. I'll push him and I'll put him in the out room myself. Okay, he's out. Okay, there we go. Folks, thanks for tuning in. My apologies that Valerie's not here. It was probably something unforeseen, I would imagine. As we said last week, her computer crapped out on her, and it just, she had to wait to get it fixed. She's kind of in a remote location up there. Anyway, so hopefully everything's okay with Valerie, but that was Yanni Meyer. It was kind of him. He's a close associate of Valerie's and a big supporter of the channel. So yeah, I didn't cover the Kraaifontein event today with the EFF because I didn't find it particularly newsworthy. The EFF gave no reason for being there, no legitimate reason, and I didn't expect that it would be chaos, and it turns out it wasn't, so for the most part. So I did not cover the event today. That was intentional, and the main reason I didn't cover it was because I wanted to be fresh for this appearance with Valerie, because I didn't want to be up at 2 o'clock in the morning, be exhausted, and then be ready for Valerie. I really wanted to have a good conversation with Valerie, but unfortunately she's not available, so that didn't happen. Hopefully we can get Valerie back on later. We'll see. But I seem to be having a rash of guests not appearing on the channel of late. I'm not sure what that's all about. It probably just coincidence, but it does seem to be happening on a regular basis. Anyway, and there does seem to be a correlation. Anyway, so folks, thanks for tuning in. And there are some events today that we need to talk about, which I haven't really touched on yet, but a few different things have happened here. So, for instance, we saw today that there is this odd court ruling from the Constitutional Court talking about a case that was held up by the Supreme Court last year in South Africa. And very strange. The headlines, when you read them in News 24, are very misleading. The news headline says the Concourt finds criminalizing inciting others to commit any offense is overboard. So that would lead you to believe that the Constitutional Court has said that criminalizing speech for people who incite violence is too much, and they can't go that far. Unfortunately, fortunately, that's not actually what happened here. So this is what. Let me see where this is at. This comment I want to read to you here. Yeah, this is from Chief Justice Mohang, who said, Mr. Julius Selo Malema and the Economic Freedom Fighters' prayer for an order declaring that the Trespass Act 6 of 1959 does not apply to unlawful occupiers under the Prevention of Illegal Evictions from an Unlawful Occupation of Land Act 19 of 1998 is refused. Ooh. So that leads me to believe that Julius Malema is in some deep kimchi right now. He'll find himself in some deep caca over his exhorting his attack or his followers to attack people or to occupy land illegally. He's inciting violence, inciting criminal acts. So they had hoped that they could overturn this apartheid-era law because it's apartheid. Well, folks, not everything that occurred in apartheid was immoral or illegal or wrong. There are actual laws, civil laws that exist from that era that are perfectly fine, that affect everyone equally. So there you go. Anyway, so there you have. So that's big news. Today, Kryfontaine, I guess Joe Emilio was there covering it. And it sounds like Debbie Ells was there, and she covered on Loving Life. So if you want to catch some footage of that, I have no footage to offer from the event. So either go to Joe Emilio's channel or go to Scott Balson's Loving Life if you'd like to catch up on what happened in Kryfontaine, because I don't have anything to offer for you folks other than what's available in the news, and that's not particularly interesting since they don't really want to cover it objectively. Anyway, thoughts on Aranya. Travis, what do you mean thoughts on Aranya? Specifically, what do you mean? Please ask. I've had Yus Stridham on the channel. We talked about Aranya. He was my guest a couple of months ago, so please be more specific. Robin says, dang, phone call. Well, just tell them to wait. They can call you back in 15 minutes. At least I got to see 5 minutes. Stronger Together. What do you mean you got to see 5 minutes? Of Yanni on? You can go back and watch the whole thing afterwards, folks. The streams are available after the fact. I don't know why people think that's not the case. Sean Eastman says, born a Yankee, will die a Southern rebel, a.k.a. Southern gentleman. Been here for nearly 4 years. Southerners sometimes call me a damn Yankee. Have been called a carpetbagger. Ooh, they still love that term, don't they? Carpetbaggers. Carpetbagger is a term applied to the folks from the North, who many of whom were opportunists and some were shysters, who descended into the Southern states, the states that were in insurrection, while they were brought back into the fold of states and during the Reconstruction era. So they were called carpetbaggers because they would carry their bags, which had the appearance of having been made out of carpet. And so that's kind of, it's an unusual term, but carpetbaggers was a derogatory term. That definitely is a derogatory term. If you're called a carpetbagger, it's not a compliment. Carpetbaggers were people that were looked on upon with great disdain in the southern states. But then the southern states were in rebellion. They were disloyal and treasonous to the United States. So tough noogies. Tough noogies. Anyway, I say, and Sean says, thank you to Yanni. So thank you, Yanni. Cato says, Selo is a controlled agent, provocateur of the terrorist ANC, maintain the impoverished and ignorant masses in hope of a revolution that never occurs. Woo, that's a strong statement. I actually agree with some of that. And Robin says, and water. What? What are you talking about? Water. Travis, why didn't the white South Africans carve out an independent nation before the end of apartheid? They could see the writing on the wall. Honest question. Well, okay, that's a fair question, but what do you mean by that? A whites-only nation? Is that what you mean? That's not practical, Travis. That just never could have happened. There's no place in South Africa where white South Africans form the majority in an economically viable physical land space. In the Western Cape, where they represent one of the highest percentage of the population, whites are still less than 1/5 of the population. 17% of the Western Cape province, which is only a small portion of what was the Cape Colony, the Western Cape is white. 17%. In most of the country these days, 9%. White South Africans are sprinkled all over the country. The biggest concentrations are in the Western Cape and in Gauteng, which is where the largest number of white South Africans are located, in Gauteng, from Pretoria down Johannesburg and the surrounding environs like Benoni and all the other places around there. That's the largest number of white South Africans. So, but there are a distinct minority there. So where would they have carved out a homeland? This was the argument many people made back in 1994 in the Northern Cape, in dry, dusty, unproductive agricultural areas that cannot sustain large populations. In the Western Cape, where they're supposed to evict the majority of the population, the mixed race coloreds? Or is the argument or the question you're making, Travis, why didn't white South Africans create a capitalist representative democracy in a part of South Africa that represented their needs and desires? Well, it wasn't practical. I mean, do people expect all the white South Africans to move from wherever they live in such a large country to this other place, give up their homes, their farms, their property, and move to another location where they have no resources? It's just not a practical situation. There's a move now afoot for secession from South Africa. The Western Cape is looking for Cape secession, and they would like to see the unification of the Northern Cape, the Eastern Cape, and Western Cape back into a single province or independent country. And that's what they're looking for, autonomy. I had Jack Miller, leader of the Cape Party, on my program. Was it earlier this week? Yeah, it was a couple of days ago. Fantastic stream. Really enjoyed it. So you guys are welcome to check that out. That was the Jack Miller from the Cape Party. I've also had on the channel in the past Hein Marks, Des Palm, and Phil Craig, each from different Cape secession movements. Speaking of which, next Wednesday, Phil Craig from the Cape Independent Advocacy Group will be back on Chris White Africa. There is a march on the 5th of December to call for Cape secession. That is being sponsored by the Cape Independent Advocacy Group, and the Cape Party is also involved, if I'm not mistaken. So that's on the 5th of December, coming up very soon. So Phil will be on the program on Wednesday, which I believe is 2 days. Let me double check the calendar. I think Wednesday's the 3rd, if I'm not mistaken. No, Wednesday's the 2nd, so 3 days before the march. So you can tune in and listen to Phil and see what he's got to say about the upcoming march, about Cape secession. So I don't know if I answered your question, Travis, but thinking, Travis was thinking about something like Orania, but larger. The problem is that there are no clear-cut places where it's all white or all black or all this or that or the other. So it's a bit of a challenge. Robin says, not much to miss about EFF protest day. All I heard was that they want toilets, water, and there's something about racism. He said, Robin, that's why I didn't cover it. This is the first one of these big events in ages that I didn't cover because I didn't think it was a big event. So yeah, plus, like I said, I want to be fresh for Valerie. Chris Redlings always says, have you seen the Justice for Black Farmers Act bill that Cory Booker and Elizabeth Warren created? I have not, and I don't know what it's about. I don't know what it's about. Elizabeth Warren is a bigot, racist, not racist, but race merchant, excuse me. And Cory Booker is the same. He's the same. He's an opportunist clown that's a buffoon that can't draw flies, let alone an audience. So you saw how his presidential bid went. No interest whatsoever. Just like Kamala Harris. You know, Kamala Harris, who got less than 2% of the Democratic primary vote, less than 2%, as the front runner, the so-called front runner, anointed by the media, although the voters weren't making her the front runner. They fell all over her as they dribbled all over her, excited, trying to make her the presumptive nominee early in the Democratic nomination process for the primaries. Remember that? The media fawning all over Kamala Harris, this former prosecutor, district attorney from San Francisco, who has a dirty record as prosecutor of San Francisco, and not much more clean record as the attorney general of the state of California, and pretty much an opportunist and attention seeker in the brief time she sat in the Senate. But Kamala Harris, who now is the presumptive vice president of the United States at the end of January. We'll see what happens, but that's presumptive. But she was eviscerated. Her entrails just tumbled out of her abdomen during a presidential debate by Tulsi Gabbard, who just destroyed her, completely destroyed her. And her candidacy fell apart after that. Cory Booker's candidacy never got anywhere because he's a gas bag. He is a buffoon. He's a clown. He's a pretend caring person. He's not. Take a look at his record. Look at the criminal activity that took place in Newark, New Jersey, where he was the mayor. Look at his record as a senator. He's done virtually nothing of any substance. And so I don't know what he and Elizabeth Warren are up to. Elizabeth Warren is a charlatan. Elizabeth Warren is the recipient of millions of dollars of corrupt money coming from contracting and consulting, from her role inside of government, and also abuse of government authorities and the creation of government institutions. Yeah, no, Elizabeth Warren has a very nasty track record. She's also a fraud. She's a fraud, falsely claiming she's a Native American to get exemptions so that she, pale and white as she is with her blue eyes, bluer than my blue eyes, can get herself privilege and assignments and posh, comfy well-paying jobs at places like Harvard. Now, she's a disgrace. She's a disgrace. She's a charlatan, and she's been a charlatan for years. Donald Trump exposed her for what she is, Pocahontas. No disrespect intended to Pocahontas, a genuine Native American, but Pocahontas, the fake Native American Elizabeth Warren, and the fraud Cory Booker, both two worthless senators who were simply oxygen thieves. Have I held back my view on them? Have I been reserved? Maybe I've been a little reserved about how I really feel about them. But no, I haven't seen this Justice for Black Farmers. I don't know what that is. There was an Atlantic article that came out a couple years ago in which it claimed that thousands of black farmers are defrauded out of their land in the Deep South by banks. And I read the article, and it seemed like a highly suspicious story. If there were truth to it, why is it only the Atlantic ran the story, and why is it only 30 years after the fact that we're hearing about it? Also, the way they framed it. So, justice for black farmers. Okay, what are we talking about there? I don't know about that bill. We'll wait and see. We have to hope that the Democrats are not able to fraudulently steal the runoff races in January for the Senate. Now, we know that they have violated laws, committed felonies, politicians and Hollywood celebrities, encouraging people to go to Georgia to register to vote criminally in order to sway the election with an unlawful outcome. That is a felony in Georgia, and if I come across anyone who does it, I'm going to refer them to the Georgia State Police for prosecution, and maybe we'll contact the Federal Bureau of Investigation as well because they're interfering in a federal election. So yeah, that's coming up, the runoff. So if the Democrats somehow steal those two seats, then we have a problem in this country. We have a serious problem. We will have potentially a senile Democratic president who was a pawn of the Chinese Communist Party, who have more dirt on him than you find in a landfill. And he will do what they want, as he's been doing for the past 30-some years. So that would be our senile, demented future President Joe Biden. In addition, we will have an ambitious, race-baiting, lying, pretend African-American vice president who will just be waiting to push this man into retirement or off a cliff so that she can ascend to the role of President of the United States without having been elected to that role. And then in addition to that, we'll have a Senate potentially controlled by the Democrats who are not interested in governance, only obedience. And when you're not obedient to them, they will punish you. And beyond that, we'll have a House of Representatives still controlled by the Democrats. And as a consequence, the only bastion of sanity and reason that would adhere to the Constitution, the document that the Democrats desire to destroy, they seek to undermine the whole purpose of the Union. And the union of this country was a union of states, not of peoples. We're not Carolinians and Virginians and Massachusetts and New Yorkers who were individual people. No, we are a union of states. Different, not peoples. So these 13 original states under the Articles of Confederation, it wasn't working, so they came up with a constitution. And the Constitution is the most sacred and the longest in effect constitution on the planet. And it's a brilliant document in its clarity, in its brevity, and in its its structure. It clearly delineates a government of the people, for the people, and by the people, in which the tyranny of the majority is not possible. We avoid tyranny of the majority here in the United States with our Constitution, which guarantees the rights of the states. And Americans are represented by members of the House of Representatives on a proportional representation by population. And we are represented as states by our senators. Hence, a tiny little state, population-wise, like Wyoming, with just 565,000 residents, gets 2 senators. In California, with 40 million people, whatever they have, gets just 2 senators because they have equal weight. And you'll notice that the Senate is the body of the legislature that confirms treaties, ratifies treaties that presidents negotiate. Unlike the fake Paris Climate Accord, which is not a treaty, the United States is not obliged to follow a damn thing under it because it was never ratified by the Senate. Barack Obama, the fraud that he was, cannot sign a document and it has the effect of law. That's not how it works under our Constitution. A brilliantly designed document which has protected us for over 200 years. The Democrats seek to destroy it. They want to eliminate the Electoral College and allow tyranny of the majority. So in future, no one needs to bother campaigning except in California, New York, Texas, Florida, and 1 or 2 other states. And that's it. The hell with the rest of the country. We don't care about the other hundreds of millions of people because that's all you need to win the election. Bottom line. So that's what they desire. They seek to pack the Supreme Court and distort the outcomes. There is no prescribed number of justices on the Supreme Court under the Constitution, but tradition has had it set at 9 for well over a century and a half, and that has been a very effective number, and it's worked very well. But they seek to pack the court like King Franklin Delano Roosevelt did back in the 1930s, trying to pack the court in order to put political lackeys on there who will do what presidents want. And that's a very serious situation. Additionally, they've been distorting how our governance works, lying about our federal system, using the fake coronavirus scandemic. No, the virus isn't fake. No, I'm not saying it's not dangerous. No, I'm not saying people don't die from it. Those are all true statements. But the political hysteria associated with the scandemic, which has been used as a political excuse to undermine economic prosperity, to push hundreds of millions of people into abject poverty, to destroy personal wealth, to remake the world into a socialist utopia, which means misery for all of us, except for the elites. This hysteria has been used as a lying tool. And it's been lied about by so many individuals. The media, who are part of the scandemic fraud, all the media, head officials for organizations like the World Health Organization, the Centers for Disease Control, the National Institutes for Health, like Dr. Fauci, Dr. Blixen. They're all part of this. Governors of states in particular, like Andrew Cuomo of New York, mayors of cities like New York City, Bill de Blasio, Jay Inslee of Washington, Tom Wolf of Pennsylvania. The list is endless. They're fraudulently using this situation, which they, in many cases, have exacerbated. Remember, Dr. Fraud told us, don't wear masks, they are not effective. Only for him to come back later and say, people should wear masks for the rest of their lives. Excuse me? We should be wearing masks all the time. You told us not to wear masks. You told us we can't get it from our pets. We can't give it to our pets, only to retract it 3 months later. You also lied to us and told us that the fatality rate was astronomically high at 3.4% when it's less than 0.2%. Yeah. So 10,000 people, we're talking about 20 people that could die out of 10,000 people, potentially, and there's not even guarantee those 20 people die. And of course, almost all of those people are people with underlying conditions. Healthy people, by and large, recover and oftentimes are asymptomatic. Yet they've lied to us. They've lied and lied and lied. Why? To change the political order and to get rid of Orange Man Bad. Do you know why? Because he may be a cad, he may be a bore, he may be disrespectful, he may be a bully, but Donald Trump has upset the apple cart of the corrupt political class in the Democratic and the Republican parties. That's right, in the Democratic and the Republican Party, corrupt, venal, self-involved, self-enriching politicians who like the order. They're perfectly content shipping American jobs to China when we can have those manufacturing jobs here. Why? Because they profit from donations and access and jobs after their service in government, working for the very pharmaceuticals, industrial concerns that ship those jobs overseas, while they do the job of these people who are greedy for an extra couple points of profit. Listen, Apple makes 65 to 70% profit margin on everything it sells. That's disgraceful. Microsoft makes 60 to 70% margins. Yet they attack oil companies and gasoline stations, petrol stations where people sell things, and their margin is 2%. Grocery stores historically make 3 to 5% margin if things go very well. That is a very narrow window to stay profitable, and a very, very minor incident could cause you to be unprofitable and cause you to lose jobs and go out of business. Whereas these software companies and these tech titans make money hand over fist and shockingly high profit rates, and not a single word is mentioned about it. Now, I'm a capitalist, and I believe in capitalism, but this system is so skewed and it's so perverted. We see tech titans like Twitter who censor people, who remove their accounts, who block things. Yesterday, Twitter blocked access to the URL for Sidney Powell's court filings. These are public documents. She filed documents with the state of Georgia, with the state of Michigan. Was it Michigan? I think it was Michigan, yeah. Anyway, it was Wisconsin. Anyway, she filed two court cases. These are public documents. Twitter blocked the URL when people pasted in their Twitter. Why? Why is that? If there's nothing to see here, if there's no election fraud, if the Trump campaign is full of it, if they're just making this up because he's unwilling to leave office, why would you hide documents that are public record? Why would you do that, Twitter? Why would any company have that kind of power? Folks, you're listening to Chris White, Africa on the Dab Africa channel. I'm Chris, and I've just paused my rant midstream in order to let you know what you're listening to. Thanks to the folks who've tuned in today. Not sure why the audience is smaller than usual. Is YouTube playing games, or if people lost interest in this channel? Really not sure. Any case, I'm here for the 73 of you who are currently here, and I'll continue for the moment. Anyway, back to the rant. So If there's nothing to see, why is Twitter going out of its way to block access to the documents that are posted online? All Sidney Powell did was post on her website to make it more easily accessible than forcing us all to go to the state of Georgia and look for court filings and dig it up. She made it available. It's a matter of public record. It's not a state secret. It's not fake news. It's not fraud. It's a matter of public record. Now, it will be for a judge and or a court to decide if, in fact, she's proven her case. But there's a legitimate case filed against the state of Georgia and the other one she filed. Why does Twitter cover that up? The shameful abuse of companies like that make hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars off of our time, our resources, and our attention while they lie, they obfuscate, they block, and they censor content is disgraceful. Those companies, before anyone jumps in, well, no, they're a private company. You're not protected from. That's correct. The Constitution does not protect us from the conduct of private entities. Hence the reason why the Boy Scouts America court case demanding that the Boy Scouts allow girls to be in Boy Scouts is utter bull. It's utter bull. The Boy Scouts is a private organization which sets its standards for membership, and girls are not supposed to be part of it. Girls can be part of the Girl Scouts, the Campfire Girls. Those things are available for girls. The Boy Scouts was a Christian organization created to help young boys with maturation because of the fraudulent claim that it's unfair that the Boy Scouts have the attainment level of Eagle Scout and that unfairly helps boys get jobs for later in life. That's too bad. That's too bad. That is just too bad. The Girl Scouts have had a century to create their equivalent sort of achievement. You don't denigrate the Boy Scouts by putting girls in it. Now, that's not a swing against girls. You don't put boys in the Girl Scouts. And there's no court cases and no complaining about no boys being in the Girl Scouts. Why not? Why must only girls go into the Boy Scout? It's stupid. Yes, the Boy Scouts have been undermined by a misuse of the law, a misapplication of the law. So if the law is going to be contorted in that fashion, it certainly can be applied appropriately in the fashion against companies like Twitter and Facebook who discriminate against people. Now, they've been given protections under a law that was created 2 decades ago meant to help spur the growth of social media marketplace. And it worked. They were protected. The argument was that Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, MySpace, remember them? All of these social media platforms are not content creators. They are not publishing houses. So when someone puts something on their webpage, on their server, the law prevents them from being held accountable for that. So if someone puts something vile or racist or criminal on there, they are not held accountable for that. They're protected by the law. But the deal was they allow content to come on their page. Now, unless it's harmful, they have no business removing it. But they have been removing content they simply disagree with. Their protections under that law must be rescinded. The law must be withdrawn. And then we must make Twitter publicly accountable. So anytime somebody says something dangerous on there, then people should sue Twitter. That's what should happen. That is what should happen. Or they should stop their nonsense. This buffoon, Jack Dorsey, somebody needs to take him out and give him a PK. He desperately needs a PK. And that's not a penalty kick, by the way, in case you don't know what that is. Anyway, folks, Keith Alderson says, I've seen a couple of bags made out of scrap carpets, almost remnants from the edges of rooms here in the UK, perhaps coming from lean years during the war. Yeah, there you go. You're talking about carpetbaggers. Yep. Why is the media asking if Trump will pardon himself? What has he done? This is crazy. Exactly, Travis. They're creating a false narrative. And they've already been saying, after Donald Trump, I argued this with some buffoons who came in my chat a few weeks ago. Well, Donald Trump is going to be prosecuted. I said, for what? For what? Tell me the crime that Donald Trump has committed. Tax evasion. That's a lie. Donald Trump hasn't committed tax evasion. And how do I know that? Because the New York Times criminally, in a felonious manner, disclosed Donald Trump's personal income tax, his federal income tax return. That's a felony. And you don't get freedom of the press for facilitating a crime. That is not freedom of the press. The fact that the New York Times has not been cited and charged by a federal court for felony actions in disclosing Donald Trump's personal income tax is disgraceful. Where is the FBI? That is not freedom of the press. They are not protected under the Second Amendment. Or the First Amendment. They don't get First Amendment protection rights under the Constitution, which allows them to disclose things by violating law. That is not freedom of the press. That is abuse by the press. And they deserve to be in the docket for their criminal activity. So how do I know that Donald Trump didn't commit tax evasion? Because they released his tax returns. They told us that he didn't pay taxes, which was a lie. They said in 8 of 10 years, Donald Trump only paid $750 in income tax. It's a lie. In 2 of those years, They actually disclosed later in the article in the New York Times that he paid $25 million, which is true. And then they didn't tell you this, but he also paid $38 million, which he told people during the debate in one of the other years. So they lied about what's going on because Donald Trump, in the years that he only paid $750 in income tax, that was in standard income tax off the income tax tables, which people who don't have much in the way of assets pay. He fell subject to the alternative minimum tax because of deductions and had to pay millions of dollars in alternative minimum tax. So I know that he didn't commit tax evasion because he filed tax returns. And the IRS has been investigating those tax returns for years, and they have never charged him with tax evasion. So that's a lie. They created a lying narrative. Now they're creating a lie. Will he pardon himself? For what crime? What crime will he pardon? He's not committed a single crime. All of the things they accused him of were lies. Collusion with the Russians. Collusion's not a crime. It's not in the statute anywhere. If you collude with someone, it's not a crime. And he didn't collude with anyone. The Democrats colluded with the Russians, and you see they haven't been charged with any crimes. Hillary Clinton's bought and paid for fraudulent Russian disinformation in the Christopher Steele dossier, which said disgusting and vile things about Donald Trump to undermine his credibility and his reputation, and it worked. It worked. There should have been nobody voting for senile Joe Biden, let alone 80 million votes. It worked. It absolutely worked. It cost the Republicans the House in 2018 because people vote against Republicans because they blame them for being associated with a criminal president who wasn't a criminal. The criminals are the Democrats who made their fraudulent claims, and they've paid no price for their fraud. What crimes? Donald Trump's Muslim ban? Even if it was a Muslim ban, that's not a crime. That's a political decision, and it's his prerogative to do it. And if people disagree with it, they can go to the courts. Guess what? He didn't have a Muslim ban. That was a lie. That's fraud. He had a ban against countries that failed to follow international norms and standards for passport issuance. 7 countries. Chris Swanepoel says, some advertising of Colonel Valerie Byliefeldt and his talk on Sightlanders Pretoria yesterday, please. Who was he talking to about Sightlanders? Was he on YouTube or was he in the press? I don't know anything about it, Chris. I'll have to take a look at that. Vine Dutoy has been on my channel a couple of times. He was a great guest. Really enjoyed him coming on the channel. We had some great audiences for that. He's got a big following with good reason. He's a fascinating character, wonderful guy, and as a former veteran as a veteran like myself, I really appreciate him. But Chris, I'm not familiar with what we're talking about. I'm happy to mention it. So Colonel Vine Dutoy was apparently in Pretoria talking about Sightlanders yesterday. He has an association with Sightlanders. But he's not really an active person. 73 watching, 79 likes, Dominion. Lee Roberts is trying to be cheeky and funny. No, we've had more people tune in during the course of this. That's how we got to 79 likes. Stronger Together says, even the angels are rooting for Chris. Yeah, well, YouTube is not because they're suppressing viewership. Today it looks to be okay, but yesterday, folks, we had people seeing 18 people watching the stream, and it was actually 100. I had 102 in the peak yesterday, and almost nobody knows that was a peak number. I don't know why they're doing it. I don't care. I don't control it. I can't stop them, and hopefully they won't start blocking my channel because I don't abuse community standards. So we'll see what happens. Triple standards. These guys have more DBI standards than double standards than they have shots of cognac. Ooh. Cato says, are there any contemporary news outlets of superior quality journalism without political agendas? PBS is leading to the left. They broadcast with quality. I would recommend Epoch Times or Epoch Times, EPOCH Times. That's a good newspaper. The Washington Examiner is a very good newspaper. They tend to be centrist or leaning to the right, if you want to argue that. But they are objective and do report the news effectively. So Epoch Times and the Washington Examiner are both good sources of news. The Washington Times is also pretty objective, but it is more to the right, and you will get more or less objective reporting when it comes to conservative issues. But it's far better than the Washington Post, that's for sure. So the Washington Times is okay, but it's to the right. The Washington Examiner is closer to the center, and Epoch Times is closer to the center, although it can be accused of being a right. One American news outlet is definitely to the right. It's your choice whether you watch or not. Newsmax. A lot of people are jumping to Newsmax. I'm not sold on Newsmax yet. None of their on-air personalities appeal to me in the slightest. Their studio is not professional looking as far as I'm concerned, and the reporting also tends to be to the right and not to the center. People say they're a center organization. I don't know. I have no objection to right reporting. Nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying that for objective news, people are going to Newsmax, and I've not been impressed with them so far. But Epoch Times, great writing, objective, fact-filled information. It's really good to see. Good to see them out there. What else? 19.7 subscribers is growing well. Yeah, Lee, it needs to grow faster, though. We need to get to 25,000 by Christmas Day. We'll see if it's on. Is Giselle still on tonight? Olaf, it does not look promising. My apologies for that. I am not I'm not putting clickbait out there. These were dates that we set up. I suspect we're not going to see the Giselle concert till next week. My mother asked me about it because she wanted to see the concert tonight. She's sitting in hospital. She was really looking forward to the Giselle concert tonight, and it doesn't look like it's going to happen, folks. Doesn't look like it. So my apologies. If you want to watch the show later, it'll just be me. You can be bored by me, or we can talk about things you want to discuss. We'll talk more about this court case after I digest more about what the Constitutional Court in South Africa said. What do you think of Greg Kelly? Greg Kelly, who used to be on Fox News, is on Newsmax. Left Fox News under a cloud because he was falsely accused of sexual harassment in a BS case by a woman who couldn't even recall the details or claim. She just made a spurious claim against him. He was involved in sexting her, apparently, but they were sexting back and forth. Anyway, I don't have an opinion about that because to me it just seemed part of the hysteria over the Me Too movement, which caused him to be leaving Fox News. I thought he was okay on Fox News. I watched his program recently on Newsmax. I don't know. It wasn't that interesting. Listen, Bill O'Reilly became, in my view, quite a bit of a self-preening gas bag on the O'Reilly Factor the last 2 years he was on there. But I still watched the program because he was engaging, he was informative, he was interesting. He may not have been objective in the last couple years in the program, but at least he kept me engaged. I don't see that with anyone on like Sean Spicer. I try to watch Sean Spicer. He's got this very attractive blonde who hangs out with him on there for their show. I tried to watch a show. It's not doing it for me. Maybe it will, but that's just a personal thing. I'm not discouraging anyone from watching Newsmax. I do offer caution, though. 4 years ago, I was concerned about Fox News because it was basically the Trump super PAC. Everything was rah, 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 Donald Trump all the time. He's the best thing since sliced bread. Ooh, you must vote for Donald Trump. But then in the build-up to this election, suddenly under Paul Ryan and the Murdoch boys, they have shifted gears the past few years, and now it's it's firmly in the left camp with fraudulent reporting about Donald Trump, distortions, and we see it with one so-called journalist after another who's abandoned journalism and resorted to opinion making, and it's disturbing. The only thing worth watching on Fox News had been Laura Ingraham and maybe Steve Hilton for his program, Mark Levin's Liberty on Sunday, and then the only other thing was Tucker Carlson. But Laura Ingraham, a couple of nights ago, I didn't see this, but I saw reporting that she started saying that that there's nothing to this fraud. Well, she's wrong. She needs to open her eyes and pay attention to Pennsylvania, where the entire election is fraudulent, and stop this nonsense. That's fake reporting. She's not even asking the obvious questions about why 682,000 ballots were done in secret. Why is that? And why aren't they being invalidated? What about the chain of custody lost in Delaware County affecting 400,000 ballots? Or the fact that the Attorney General and the Secretary of State declared publicly 3 weeks before the election they were going to violate election law? Or that the governor violated election law by installing voting machines which were not part of the act and approved? From Dominion, as it turns out, right here in my own county. Those are all legitimate questions and not anything. Laura Ingraham has abandoned her back on what's going on here. Tucker Carlson dismissed Sidney Powell in a very condescending fashion on his program. I gave him a free pass the first night because I didn't take particular offense to it. I wasn't in their phone call, but I heard what he had to say. I gave him benefit of the doubt. But then he doubled down the next night. He was even more insulting to Sidney Powell. I don't have a dog in the fight with Sidney Powell. I don't know if she's the brilliant former federal prosecutor and defense attorney that she claims to be and that others say she is, or if she's just some lunatic spewing some conspiracy theory. But I would like to know, why is Twitter blocking access to those documents? By the way, I've downloaded those briefs that were filed with those courts, and I have them. I was sorting through them last night. Why are they covering this? Why is Fox News? So can't even watch Tucker Carlson anymore. And I've been promoting Tucker Carlson all year long as the most objective, the best investigative journalist that's out there left on television. Well, I have to question his bona fides now when he does things like this. Anyway, so yeah, it's really crazy out there, folks. Redline says, my father-in-law shot a kudu and brought along a hindquarter, which I'm processing. Oh, cool. Kudu are awesome. I love kudu. I have a kudu Swarovski, which is awesome. Part of the Africa series that Swarovski did about 30 years ago. It's a collector's item. It's pretty cool. Censorship. Yep, censorship. That's right. I love trolling the lefties with facts, says Robin. Yeah, me too, Robin. And it's like, okay, folks, I did the video. Excuse me. I did the video because I was asked by Bosch Separate to report on the incident in which the Botswana Defense Force shot 4 purported poachers on Sududu Island. So I did a video on it. By the way, my sourcing for that was the Botswana Police Service through Namibian media. I went to 3 different Namibian news sources. I took the information they reported, objectively assessed it, believed it was factual, as best we knew at the time, did a video saying as much. This is information from Namibian sources. And then I report on it, only to be attacked by bigots and racists and black nationalists from Namibia, calling me a clown and calling me a racist and yada, 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 and then attacking Botswana and saying that they're a stooge of America because I did a video reporting on it. All I did was take the facts that were reported, the admission by the Botswana Defense Force, the statement released by the Zambezi Police District in Namibia, that information, plus gave some background information and a brief bit of analysis. And the background information was I introduced the International Court of Justice decision from 1999, which awarded Sududu Island to Botswana. I also mentioned the Namibian name for the island, Kisekili. I mentioned that. So that's pretty objective. Yet they assault me and they attack me because they're racist, vile, disgusting, childish bigots is what they are, who attack me with their venal comments. And I actually find it entertaining, Robin. So some of them I respond back to and just eviscerate their uninformed, childish rants and comments about me. Just ridiculous. And it's a shame. I don't think I'll ever be able to go to the Caprivi Strip again. Oh, wait, that's colonialist. It's not called Caprivi anymore. Oh, God. Grow up. And then they come on there and they spew nonsense. They weren't poachers. They were fishing. I'm sorry. Do you have difficulty with the English language? I appreciate that English is not everybody's first language, but it doesn't take much to go into a dictionary. They're online. You don't even have to go to the library and open up a dictionary. Just get yourself an English dictionary from online. You can go to Merriam-Webster, you can go to Oxford, you can go to Google, and look up what the word poaching is. They're not poachers. They didn't have guns. You don't need guns to be poachers. People poach wildlife with snares, with traps. You morons. And fishing, illegal fishing, is poaching. It's poaching. When you take things you're not allowed or entitled to, that is poaching. It doesn't have to be. People used to catch birds in Italy. These little birds, beautiful little birds, because they like to catch them and then sell them. They would use nets and catch them. No guns, no fishing lines, but catching birds illegally in nets. That's poaching. That's what the word is about, poaching. So I don't want to hear the nonsense. They're not poachers. They were fishing. Okay, here's the problem. Why were they fishing on Sududu Island? Well, they're entitled to. No, they're not. And that's what my analysis was. The court decision of 1999 established Sududu Island as Botswana territory. And then they comment, well, you said it right there in yourself that they're allowed to use it. I did not. You didn't pay attention to my video. What I said in the video is that Namibians and Botswana are permitted to use the channels on both sides of Sududu Island. The court found that the channel was sufficiently deep enough on the north side of the island, the Namibian side of the island, that it was deep enough to consider it a waterway. Hence, they had right of passage on the waterway on both sides. Because on the other side, it's in the middle of the Chobe River, and it's clearly deep enough. But the channel on the north was the question. Is it a semi-seasonal channel? Is it a permanent channel? Is it deep enough for boats to transit? The court decided that it was deep enough channel. That's the bottom line. So to you bigots, you racist, you incompetent, illiterate clowns on the Namibian side who cannot deal with facts that were reported by Namibian news sources, which, by the way, then later started this emotional nonsense about the behavior of the BDF without any facts whatsoever. Supposition. I don't deal in supposition unless I make it clear that it is supposition. And I do that when I do that. I'm telling you the facts of the case. We are yet to know. An investigation is warranted, absolutely. But simply making claims of murder and this, that, and the other is utter nonsense. Now, one person actually did something substantive. A Namibian posted a news article which came from a Botswana news source, which indicated 37 members of the BDF are under suspicion for poaching in that part of Botswana. Now, that's useful information. Thank you for that information, that Namibian who put that on there. And I left that comment on my page so that people can go read that article for themselves and determine for themselves. So there you go. But these unfounded claims by Namibians who are angry because now, what really pisses me off about this, folks, is that they are not objective. Calling me a racist and a bigot. They don't even bother to take a second to go and look at my playlist on Namibia and watch my previous videos in which I celebrated Namibia's independence, said compliment. Okay, my video just ended. Hang on. Gee, many crickets. Hang on, folks. I'm here. There was no one talking for 40 minutes, so I'm here. I'm going to end here shortly anyway, 1:30. So we should be back. There we go. Why is that not? I got to get full screen again. There we go. Now we're back. Anyway, folks. Yeah, they didn't even bother looking at my videos in which I said positive things about Namibia. Also, one of my very first prepared videos is about the Namibian beef industry being the first country in Africa to legally ship beef products, meat, to the United States. fantastic video, if I do say so myself. Very complimentary of Namibia, which took 17 years to negotiate the rights to do that. No, they just tune in on this video and start calling me names because they're children. They're childish children. That's the bottom line. Lichtenberg murder duo has been acquitted. What Lichtenberg murder duo? Robin wants to say, what was said about Tucker Carlson? Tucker Carlson said that he invited Sidney Powell to come on his program and ask her for evidence, and that she refused, and that she was angry with him. For her part, Sidney Powell said that he was rude and disrespectful to her and kept demanding evidence. She offered him copies of depositions which had not even been entered into evidence in court, so they had information, actually give him information no one else had, and he rejected that. So she refused to go on his program because she said he was insulting to her. So he attacked her for that, and you could say it wasn't really an attack the first night. He just called her out on it. So I gave him a free pass the first night, but on the second night he was insulting on his program, and he attacked Sidney Powell. I'm not defending Sidney Powell, but that's not objective, Tucker Carlson. That's a case of a journalist getting a little full of themselves, and acting the fool. So anyway, Tucker Carlson is now under suspicion too about where he believes. So Kata says CIA declares Botswana's military to be 9,000 active members in strength, including 500 of the air wing. What is Chris Wyatt's evaluation of the quality of their equipment? The actual number of the BDF, you're talking about, you're saying CIA, that's from the CIA fact book. By the way, that information is written by a civilian or military person at the Defense Intelligence Agency. When you read the CIA fact book, you'll find that the military information in there comes from the Defense Intelligence Agency, which they write annually and provide to the Central Intelligence Agency. The political side of that book is done by the Central Intelligence Agency. So I am an author of that CIA fact book, little known fact there, from years ago. That number is not correct, 9,000. I don't know who the analyst is that provided that. There are the Swedish, the SIPRI, the Swedish Institute for Peace Research, what they're called, SIPRI, is the gold standard. They and Janes, Swedish Institute and Janes are the gold standard, but you have to pay for their data for the size of military. It's not actually 9,000. The number is probably closer to 11 or 12,000. The air wing is about 500. That's correct. And what is my evaluation of the quality of equipment? The Botswana Defense Force is the best military in Southern Africa, hands down. It's not the largest, it's not the most powerful, but it is the best. It's the most professional force. It's the best paid, consistently paid. It's the most disciplined force in Southern Africa. Angola has a far larger military, has much more in the way of military equipment, and could outdo Botswana's force if they were engaged in combat by sheer numbers. South Africa has a larger military, but its military is a disaster. It only has a few pockets of excellence in the South African National Defense Force. Other than that, it's an abject failure and a disaster. It can't even fly its own planes. It can't put its submarines to sea. It can't put its corvettes to sea. It is an absolute disaster. And in many respects, the SANDF is a joke today. And that's really sad to see. There are pockets of excellence, though, in the SANDF. But the Botswana Defense Force, by and large, across the board, is a professional force, well-equipped and well-disciplined and well-paid in Botswana standards. So, yeah, in national standards. So my assessment of the BDF, whom I've worked with directly, is that they're a good force. And they've done some great stuff. They've done peacekeeping in Somalia. They did peacekeeping in Lesotho twice, and they've not done it since then. The Botswana Defense Force is not doing peacekeeping because they don't want to be involved in peacekeeping in which Western countries are unwilling to put their forces. So if you see the U.S. put peacekeepers in a country in Africa, you might be able to convince Botswana to put forces there, or the Brits, or the French, or Germans, or someone like that. But they're not going to go do something when their neighbors around them are Bangladeshis and Ghanaians or Sierra Leoneans. They're not going to do that. They're clever. Let's see what else. Many of my saved videos on YouTube have been removed. Seems they do this all, don't fall like sheep. What do you mean save videos, Chris? You mean from your own channel? Your videos have been deleted? Or are you talking about when you save a video and then you go back, it's not there? That might be because someone deleted the video. So I'm not sure what you're referring to. But yeah, YouTube is definitely playing games. That's why I download my content repeatedly. I have to do that at least once a week or every other week. I download my videos to make sure they don't disappear. Now, I have the videos I do prepared. I upload those. So those I don't have to deal with. But YouTube reformats them, and the data, it makes for a smaller file. So I tend to download them in case I need to reload them on another site like BitChute or something like that. I do have a BitChute account now, folks, and I put 2 videos up there, but I'm not really focusing on BitChute for the moment. And then for my live streams, those are the ones I have to download because those are saved on their servers, and I have to download them as soon as they're available. Otherwise, they disappear. Cato says, thank you. That was insightful. You're welcome, Cato. It's my pleasure. BDF is fantastic. Their armored personnel carriers are well maintained. That's another thing. You go to a BDF barracks and you don't see broken down vehicles. You see people repairing them, taking care of them. And the BDF is not particularly well funded. It meets its needs, but they're very, when I say not well funded, it's because the Botswana Defense Force is like the emergency service for everything in Botswana. Forest fires, call the BDF. Men's sector for HIV, lay that on the BDF, make them do it. Poaching, that should be park rangers. No, give that to the BDF. Anti-poaching missions, BDF. Border security, BDF. That's actually a legitimate mission for them. And the list goes on and on and on. So Christmas holiday season, like right now, the Botswana Defense Force will be out in joint patrols with the Botswana Police Service, the BPS. They'll be doing joint patrols. Why? Because the police are not armed, but the BDF is armed. So in order to discourage theft, which is what happens in the holidays, people break into people's homes, they rob from them, they rob them at shopping malls and outlets like that. The BDF and the Botswana Police Service do joint patrols from now through the end of the year to discourage crime. And so that falls on the BDF. That's law enforcement. That's not a military function. So the BDF does everything, and they don't receive additional funding. This all comes out of their operating budget, and it's not planned for. And it's other than the anti-poaching, they've been doing it so long now that they make that part of their budget. But they don't get additional funding to pull off these missions when they're called for, like, go do this, go do this, go do this, go do this. Flood relief. The BDF has to do the flood relief. No one pays them for the additional fuel to fly helicopters and to evacuate people from flood zones. That all comes out of their operating budget. And the operating budget is not set up so they do that. So they do a remarkable job given the fact that they're not funded to do these missions. So there you go. Might the Setswana of Mafeking and the surrounding territory be interested in joining the compatriots Republic of Botswana? People have talked about that. The Bafokeng from Rustenburg and the Tswanas from the Northern Cape, and who knows? It's been talked about, but I don't think it's likely. Botswana probably wouldn't want them. There are some cultural differences among those different Tswana-speaking groups. If you want to ask our great host a message, oh yeah, thank you, thank you, Kyle. Genuinely happy for people who are genuinely happy. Well, thank you, David. You're saying some odd things in the chat, but that's not odd. Clement Malinaric says, Germ had interview deleted. That was probably the one he did with David from the Kifness, which got his channel. His channel was blocked. I don't know why they blocked his channel. We never got an explanation as to why they blocked his channel, but they did block his channel for some strange reason. Leon says, Ron, love all the YouTubes. Ronaldo, Chris, Ramon, Germ, Joe, Laura, Beth, etc. Great contact I've made. Well, good. I'm glad you enjoy them. That's pretty cool. Although I'm a little bit angry with the Pod Bros for running over 30 minutes into my stream and dampening my audience for this stream. It's not odd. It's lost in context. Perhaps, David, but the context is the context you're sharing with yourself and not with others. No, the professor one. Oh, really? Okay, I didn't see that. Okay. Alternatively, you can super chat your questions. Yeah, if you super chat, it definitely gets my attention. There was a recent one with Susharat Bakati. I haven't seen that one. And the Pod Bros were talking. Yeah, David. They're probably just talking nonsense. But whatever. I mean, people can watch what they want. If you want to watch the Pod Bros instead of watching Chris White Africa, it's your prerogative. I'm a level field player. The broadcast times that I picked are based on availability and when people would be able. So originally I used to broadcast, I've kept it consistent for South Africa, but I used to broadcast at 5 p.m. in South Africa, which was 11 a.m. for me when I started my daily live streams. And then Morning Shot, Roman, who was not doing live streams, he was just doing prepared videos, decided to start doing live streams. And before that, when I did prepared videos and I wanted to premiere them, I noticed that Morning Shot was doing it at 7 a.m., which for me was 1 a.m. in the morning. So in order to premiere my videos so people would see them in the morning, I waited until after his premiered and never put my videos up at the same time to compete or to intrude in his audience. So I would premiere it at 7:15, 7:30, 7:45 to make sure that I didn't interfere with his videos, just to be respectful of his channel. And then while that was happening, I was being respectful of his channel. I was doing an 11 o'clock stream every morning. And that was 5 p.m. in South Africa because of the 6-hour difference. And I was getting an audience. It was growing. It was great. And then suddenly Roman Kabanak, his Morning Shot, decided to start doing live streams every day at 5 p.m., 11 a.m. And he had a bigger audience, a much bigger audience than me. I had like 2,000 or 3,000. He had like 14,000 at the time. And I didn't want to compete with him. And I had found that hour based on nobody using it in South Africa on the YouTube. So I moved my stream to noon, which is inconvenient for me, but I did it. And then I got set at noon every day, 6 p.m. in South Africa. And I was able to retain my audience and grow it which was cool, but was kind of inconvenient for me. So with daylight savings times, now I'm back to 11 a.m. for me, but it's still a difference with Roman. So when that program runs over, it runs into my program. So, but that's fine. People are welcome to watch whatever they want to watch or not watch what they want to watch. That's your prerogative. That's your business. I just hope that you find this channel interesting and that you find the content compelling and the guest interesting and that you get something useful out of it, either for your time, for your subscription, for your membership, your paid membership, for your super chats, for your likes, and heck, for your dislikes, those who dislike. So yeah, but I try not to intrude in other people's channels, but that courtesy doesn't extend both ways. But that's fine. No one's obliged to extend that courtesy. I'm just saying. Peter in New Zealand says, appreciate your objective, well-informed reporting. Well, thank you so much, Peter. I'm very grateful for that. David says, I missed the history lessons. Well, don't worry about that, folks. I will be doing a history lesson. By the way, I put a video up the other day, which was for members only, and that was a 4-minute video of a tour of the College Green in Athens, Ohio. That's a members only video for the moment, and I loaded it from my mobile, so about 20 or 30 people got to see it, I think, or 20 people got to see it before it was even private, and then I made it private for members only. That video will be back after a number of days. That's one of the perks for members. They get to see things like that exclusively. So after a few days, I'll open that up to everybody. If you want to see a video of the College Green at Athens, Ohio for Ohio University, which is where I was an undergraduate, it's a beautiful location. I think you'll enjoy the video. That'll be coming up. But yeah, Oh, so Robin is entertained slightly. I'm disappointed, Robin. I'm disappointed. Military. Oh, you're talking about military history. Yeah, no. I've also set up a playlist for the Call of Duty with the Colonel, which will be military history. As I said, I think the first one I'm going to do for that is going to be Lieutenant Colonel Paul Leto von Voorbeck, and I will do a video on that or a stream on that. I'll prepare that, and that'll be the first military history one I'll do because I'm a big fan of his and his guerrilla campaign in the First World War with the Askari and the German East Africa Corps trying to stop the Commonwealth forces from overtaking German governance in Tanganyika. So that'll be one of the first ones I do. Then I'll probably do something on the Boer War or maybe the Xhosa Boer Wars, the 9 of them. I'll talk about that. But I'll start doing those sometime soon. But I have a commitment for Ghana next week. I have a lot of work and research and verify my data before I make presentations next week at a conference in Ghana. I was supposed to physically be there, but I'm not going to be there, so I'll be doing it remotely. So I'll be doing it from here. So I've got that going on, plus I'm scheduling guests and rescheduling guests, as you can see. And so it's keeping me quite busy. Clem says, my evenings belong to Chris Wyatt. I'm such a groupie. Well, Clem, I'm glad you're a groupie. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. You know, from time to time, I wonder whether it's worthwhile continuing this. You get people who accuse people of doing this for e-begging or they're doing it for money. While there's a little bit of money that comes in on this channel, that's not why I did the channel. And trust me, I get paid a hell of a lot more money for 1 hour of my time as a consultant, 1 hour of my time, than I do doing this channel. So it's definitely not about that. It's also not about an ego. People might think, well, it's you like to get attention. No, I've been an international media figure in the past. I've been well known in countries where I've worked at. I've been on radio, television repeatedly in many countries. It's not about that. I'm perfectly happy to be in the shadows. I'm perfectly happy to be in front and center when it's appropriate. It's about trying to deliver something objective and interesting and build a community of like-minded people, which is pretty cool. And I enjoy the crowd that comes in here. Even the trolls can be entertaining at times. Cato says, after the plumbing incident, did you find the archives of the San medicine practices? No, I haven't looked for them, Cato. But let me make a note of that so you want to know about that. Maybe I can find my paper. So, gosh, I hope I still have that. So, Cato, you did that at 12:38. Okay, there it is. So I'll have to look for that. But guys, with doing 2 streams a day, the day really gets broken up, and I really am limited in what I can and can't get done unless I stay up at odd hours. That's why when people say, do you ever sleep? Well, I don't have an opportunity because I'm busy. Yeah, by the way, if you want to join the Telegram group, Hendo, I think, just put up there, Chris White Africa, we have a Telegram group which is open to the public. Subscribers are encouraged to join it. You can chat there and share things. The Telegram group is open to the public because your mobile number is hidden. Other people can't see it. And I do care a lot about personal security, personally identifiable information. I worry about protecting that for people. So in there, anyone can join, and you can join the group. And feel free to join it. Chris White Africa on Telegram. Also, I have a MeWe account, which I've set up. I've posted that link before. And it's also below not below this video, but it's been below some other videos. And then if you're a paying member of Chris Wyatt Africa, you can become a member of the WhatsApp group. But you have to be a paying member, and you have to send me an email on top of that. And the email, you can find my email address on the About tab here on on the channel. So then if you send me an email and you request you're a paying member, I'll put you in that group. But the reason I don't do it automatically is that I must have your request because I'm protecting your privacy, or privacy as we say in America. I'm protecting your privacy because WhatsApp groups, your mobile number is exposed to other group members. So just so you know that. But in Telegram, your number is hidden, so all that people see is your moniker, your username. But Chris White Africa, we have the Indaba Africa Network channel on Telegram, and then there's a Telegram group called Chris White Africa. And so there you go. Troll has become a label, like the K word. I don't know about that, David. I mean, people troll. No, I disagree. I mean, people troll in a lighthearted, entertaining fashion, which is not malicious. Ronaldo trolls on my channel. I troll on Ronaldo's channel, and just being cheeky. Being cheeky is trolling. But it's not like the K word. Not at all. I disagree. There are nasty trolls who mean to undermine things, but there are people who are just being cheeky, and that may be distracting or entertaining. It's not necessarily evil. By doing this, you put the mind in the present. Okay. My post office says they don't send telegrams anymore. I must use emails. See, that's trolling. It's mine. It's cheeky troll. He's just being funny. Chris Wyatt, looking forward to see one of your broadcasts from Namibian lands. You deserve a lekker break from all your hard work. What do you mean from Namibian lands? There's a playlist on the channel. It's called the Velvitia playlist. You can look it up. You can find some of my videos listed there. Thank you for your discretion regarding privacy. It means security. Indeed, David, that's exactly right. That's why I do it. That's why when people put their email address or their mobile numbers in my chat, my moderators are directed to delete that. Because people do that innocently sometimes, and then they don't realize they've just exposed themselves because the chat remains up unless YouTube blocks it. It remains up. By the way, I never turn off the live chat on any of my videos, my live streams, they're always there. If you go to one of my videos and it says chat not available, that's because of YouTube, not because of me. And it's just their software. It's ineffective. It's inefficient. Sometimes it blocks stuff. Sometimes it doesn't. So it has nothing to do with me, ladies and gentlemen. There you go. Ron Erasmus says, love the chats. Well, thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. Yeah, David's pointing out a very bad troll. Yeah, on many channels. And then you should start a spiritual YouTube channel. I don't talk about things I'm not a subject matter expert in, by and large. In spirituality, I'm not particularly strong in knowledge of that. I just have a layman's perspective on it, and so I don't really. But thank you for that. Let's see what else. What else? The chat is an integral part of it is. Well, David, not just the Chris White experience, but to me, chat is an integral part of the experience. So this is why I'm not watching Loving Life much anymore. Okay, so Loving Life has told me, and Michelle has told me that Scott and his moderators have not blocked me on the channel. I'll accept that at face value because I've experienced people on my channel who have never blocked who claim they're blocked. And it has something to do with profiles. I don't know why my profile would be blocked, but on Loving Life, I cannot chat. And thereby, the experience is not nearly as fulfilling or rewarding as it had been in the past. Don't know why I'm blocked on there. If Loving Life and if the moderators there haven't blocked me, then why is YouTube preventing me? I don't have multiple. I have a single profile here on YouTube that I'm using. That's it. A single profile that I'm using. Single one. So I'm not blocked. I've not violated community standards. So it's just a really odd thing that I cannot go on there. But I'll accept that at face value because, as I said, I've had people on here whom I've never blocked. I've taken the time to go through and look for they're not blocked by my moderators, but they can't comment. So I don't know why. I'm not in incognito mode. I don't do that. I don't play that game on YouTube. If I state something, then I'll stand behind it. If I overstate something and I'm wrong, then I'll correct the record or I'll apologize if it's inappropriate. But I don't hide on YouTube at all. I have no reason to hide on YouTube. Anyway, so interesting rugby jersey. Well, thank you, Boss Zebra. This is a Gloucester jersey. Here you go. I got this in England in 2015 when I was there for the Rugby World Cup. And you can see quite a few ads on it. They're really into Rude Wines, the Aviva Premiership Rugby. There you go. Gloucester's one of the Premiership teams. And this is the last location I went to. I think Gloucester was where the USA played Japan. And the next morning before I left town and headed back to the airport, I went downtown. They have a Gloucester shop, and I picked this jersey up. This is a pretty good one. So, yep, there you go. Kyle says, I need to upload more videos to my channel. Okay, well, that's cool. Clem likes the jersey. Yeah. No, I haven't worn this in a bit, but they got Hartpury College. I have no idea where that's at. Never heard of it. That's up here on the shoulders. And lots of ads. On the back, there's a StubHub ad. Let me see. It's right there. You can see it on the top there. StubHub. Anyway, So yeah, lots of ads. I don't like advertisements on my rugby jersey. It's kind of lame. What is a shadow band? You mean shadow ban? Shadow ban is different than a shadow band. I don't know what a shadow band is. David has a 30-day Facebook ban for kosher anti-BLM comments. Interesting. Well, Facebook is a vile social media platform run by a disgusting leftist named Mark Zuckerberg, who censors content that he disagrees with, he and his company, and it's disgraceful. They need to have their protections removed so they can be prosecuted for the content that's posted on their sites. There you go. Say hello to Santa at the back. I see correctly. Where is Santa? No, it's not Santa. You're talking about right here? This is not Santa. That's a fez. That's a bear from Morocco. Check it out. See the Moroccan star right there and right there. So he's got a little fez on his head. That's a Moroccan bear, not Santa. Speaking of which, folks, just so you know, right here in Chris White Africa, this was a suggestion from Eric, and I've taken it further. So we'll be doing a stream or streams coming up sometime soon in December for Christmas. And we'll have Christmas music. We'll have our very own Giselle performing Christmas carols here on the channel. That's coming up here in Chris White Africa. I will be dressed as St. Nicholas, Father Christmas, Santa Claus. That's coming up. My suit should be arriving Saturday, and it's a good one. I spent some money on this, more than I make on Super Chats, trust me, to buy a nice Santa Claus suit with all the accoutrements, but I won't have to put on a beard because I have my own. So we'll do a program in which I'll be playing the role of Santa Claus. Marlies from Namibia. You remember Marlies from the viral video, My Fuck Marlies. The girl who was learning how to ride a bicycle and ran into a rugby post. She's been a guest on this program. She will be on there. The plan is that she'll be Santa's helper or an elf. She'll be on the program. We'll do it in a Zoom session. It'll be Christmas orientation. And the Giselle will pop on and do Christmas carols periodically. So it will be a Christmas show. If you want to bring your children to watch it, it will be a family-friendly stream, no profanity. And if anybody misbehaves in the chat, they're going to be moored immediately and sent packing. This is for the kids. And so, no, I'm not Santa Claus, and I won't claim to play Santa Claus. I'll say that I'm here representing Santa, which is true. And there you go. Robin says, I was good this year, no coal. Well, Robin, we can't give coal anymore because it's a carbon emitter. So now what we do is you misbehave. We make you put a Joe Biden campaign sign in your front lawn. We fill your stocking full of Joe Biden posters. JP Rousseau says, Hetten cock sexy broad. Well, thank you very much for that. Coal is too wet now anyway, says Clem. Telegram is really cool. Yeah, a lot of people like Telegram. I think it's okay, but I get too many updates from people in there, so it's okay. It seems that the ruling party may have lost big in local elections. Yeah, I need to cover that. Thank you for reminding me that, Bush. I would expect that they would lose big, so I'm going to cover the elections there. And that's right, Namibia elections. Thank you very much for that. I need to make a video on that. That reminded me of a video I need to do about that. Yeah, well, it's not surprising. SWAPO is highly unpopular because their president, Kingab has just really been off the charts with his behavior. He lost popularity in his reelection, the lowest total ever, 58% by a presidential candidate from SWAPO. And his party has declined since then. In fact, his party would probably be happy if they could get rid of him because his unpopularity is reflecting on SWAPO. So I'm not surprised that they did poorly, and we'll have to see how the other parties did. But I'll take a look at that. Would a third party work in America? Trevor, we have lots of third parties. It has never worked thus far. The closest we've come is Teddy Roosevelt started a progressive party. That didn't make it. Then we've seen other parties try, but it's just not been the case. The two-party system, unfortunately, is with us to stay. Here in the United States, for instance, we have a Green Party, we have a Libertarian Party, we have a Constitutional Party, all of which are known. The Libertarian Party traditionally gets at least 1 million votes in a presidential election, but never much more. Green Party had Ralph Nader as its candidate in 2000, and arguably in Florida, he made a difference helping George Bush win the election there and a couple other states. So, yeah, we've had third parties in the past. They haven't done very well. So it's hard to say why. Politics only works against the people. P.S. Goodwill's firstborn son was assassinated. No, he was murdered Is it an assassination, David, or was it a murder? I've mentioned it, reported on. I'm yet to do a video. I'm preparing to do a video on that. Yeah, his son was murdered a few weeks ago, not the other day. We're talking about 3 weeks ago now, on like the 5th of November. Letukula Zulu, 50-year-old firstborn son of the Zulu king, was murdered. They've arrested the suspects in the murder. That occurred this week. So I plan on doing a video about that. I'm just waiting for more information about the case. They were arrested. They had a hearing on Monday, and I've seen a complete news blackout about what's happened since then. So was it in fact an assassination, or simply a murder during a robbery? I'm not sure. Kyle has put the Telegram group down there. Thank you for that. And then we've got Clem says Ross Perot. Ross Perot was a third-party candidate. He ran for, what was the party he ran for? But Ross Perot didn't win a single state in the Electoral College. So he might have won 19% of the popular vote, but he got no Electoral College votes. So it was a disaster. And it's a shame because he he ran for the Reform Party. I'm trying to remember. The Reform Party lasted for a short period of time, and we only successful election for that, I think, was the former wrestler in Minnesota who became the governor there, and then of course was wildly unpopular because he was a useless governor. Ron Erasmus says, thanks for what you're doing for South Africa. Well, it's my pleasure. David says, excuse me, I don't have all the details. Yeah, I don't. I'm not. David, I don't know. As far as I know, it wasn't an assassination. It was a murder. Now, I don't know if it was a murder for hire. It could have been that. But there are 5 suspects who were arrested. They were supposed to appear in court. Robin, you got to go. I got to go, too. I'm going to knock off here because I'm going to keep to my standard of not overstaying when it's not necessary in intruding other people's time. I think that Ronaldo Jos will be on with his tech chat here at the top of the hour. So I'm going to break off from that. Thanks a lot, folks. I want to appreciate you tuning in. It doesn't look like we're going to have Giselle for the concert later. That's not clickbait. My apologies. I'll come back on to do a stream because she won't be here. We'll talk about news, and we'll play some music, and we'll see what happens. Anyway, so does he have a royal guard or Zulu armed successor to their ancient warrior tradition? I don't know, Cato. It's a good question. It's a good question. Sorry, I meant the Colony 2, who was found guilty by the press for the young boy who died from jumping from the back of the bucky and died. They were acquitted. Oh, thank you. Weren't they originally given like 10 years in prison, or was that the 2 guys for the coffin, and then that was overturned? So that must have been the other ones. Well, thank you for sharing that, Lee. I appreciate more facts. That's helpful. So they were acquitted today. Good. So the kid jumped off and died, and originally they were convicted. Yeah, no, it's interesting, folks. Sometimes the courts work in South Africa. Sometimes they're captured. It just depends. We'll see. The really beggar can wait, says Clem, the really beggar. That's funny. That's funny. Anyway, by the way, folks, Ronaldo Jos asked me if I would be a regular guest on his program once a week on Wednesdays. So I agreed to do that. So I guess next Wednesday we'll start, and that will replace my monthly appearance on the Sunday service. So look for me on Ronaldo's program on Wednesdays, which will make my Wednesdays pretty miserable because I'll do my stream, then I'll go to Ronaldo's stream, then I'll come back and do my stream a half hour after that. So it's going to be a long day of broadcasting for me on those. But anyway, yeah, please feel free to watch the program. Anyway, and again, whatever content you like, please watch it. If it's this content, that's great, and I'm very thankful if you watch this content. If you want to watch someone else because you like them better, whether it's Roman or Loving Life or it's Germ, go watch them, or Joe Emilio or Beth. Feel free to watch them. But you're always welcome here, folks, especially folks who are well-behaved. It is the 27th of November. Today is Friday. So I wish you all a lekker Freitagabend in South Africa, in Botswana, Namibia, Malawi, Ghana, wherever you find yourself in Africa or around the world. Have a lovely, lovely Friday evening. I'm going to break right here, and I'll be back on for the Night Owls edition since it looks very unlikely that Giselle's concert will be available. And my apologies for that. Not intentional. We will eventually get on there. White Diamond Child says, I'll see you on Ronaldo's show. Well, that's if I show up in the chat. I've got some work to do, prep for Ghana next week. Also, I need to do some research for a couple videos I need to make, but I'll probably pop in for a little bit. Olaf says, no, none of them, only this channel. The others will be banned. To Joe Biden's sniffing hair channel. Oh my goodness. Excuse me. I'm yawning. I didn't get much. My sleep last night was disrupted. Anyway, folks, thanks a lot for tuning in. We'll catch you a little bit later here on Chris White Africa. God bless. And thank you for your patronage. Thanks for the super chats that came in. I really appreciate that. I think I missed mentioning a super chat a little while ago. My apologies for that. It was Kyle. Kyle gave a super sticker with the hippos in the water. Kyle, I did see your super chat. Thank you so much for your super sticker. Thank you so much for that. It is very much appreciated. Also, thanks for your role as a moderator. By the way, Kyle was like, I think, the first moderator on the channel, or I'm pretty sure he's the first. He asked about being a moderator. Then he was gone for a while. He was busy with Roman's channel. He's a big supporter of Roman, which is pretty cool. And then he came back. So it's good to see him come back. Thanks for all your support, Kyle. And Robin, you're not getting any coal, Robin. You're not getting any coal. By the way, you mentioned earlier that they call you Sturvy. Would they not call you Curvy? Just asking. Anyway, so Robin might be gone. She said she had to go. Well, I wouldn't have done that if Belle Delphine featuring Joe Biden. Yeah, Belle Delphine. I didn't realize who people were talking about. I know who Belle Delphine is. I just didn't. The name didn't ring a bell. I looked her up. I know who she is. The one with the pink hair who does like the cosplay and like she's like Japanese or whatever, but she's actually South African, based in the UK. By the way, Belle Delphine on her channel, whichever channel she's on now, because she's been banned here and there, but her channel, she will be doing. She'll be doing a porn video on Christmas Day. So if you want to watch Belle Delphine do pornography on Christmas Day, feel free to watch it. Yeah, I don't think she'll be a guest on this channel. Anyway, so there you go. Didn't ring a bell. Didn't ring a bell. That's right. You guys are funny. All right, that's it. We'll catch you here in a little bit on Chris White Africa. Take care, folks, and appreciate your support for the channel. God bless, and we'll see you a little bit later.